please, don't try anything that you're about to see us do at home. Ever.
On this episode of MythBusters, get ready to be shaken and stirred, because it's the MythBusters James Bond special.
How cool is that?
All the gadgets, guns, and getaways you can handle, as we find out, can Bond's magnetic watch really deflect a bullet? Then Carrie, Grant, and Tori fire up a fiendish plan.
Anybody else feel like an evil genius?
To explode the myth that Bond's bullet could ignite a propane gas tank. And can Jamie and Adam land 007's spectacular leap without smashing up their speedboat?
Oh my God!
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
I am the villain, Baron von Savage.
And Jamie Heineman.
Mush.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Rise, my son.
Joining them, Grant Imahara.
Weapon of choice is a crossbow.
Tori Belleci.
It's getting dangerous now, and that's how we like it.
And Carrie Byron.
That is messed up!
They don't just tell the myths.
Wow, I can feel the pressure.
They put them to the test.
James, I'm frightened.
I sense trouble.
You have every right to be afraid, my lovely. For I, Baron von Savage, have concocted a series of diabolical tests for you and your penguin friend here.
But why?
Why? Because it is time for the MythBusters James Bond special.
Not this time, Baron.
No?
It's Heineman. James Heineman.
Grab your martini glass and dust off the tux, because it's the James Bond special, starting off with a timeless 007 movie myth.
And what special treat do you have in store for me?
Ha! Your naivety, James, surprises even me. According to your cue, that watch on your wrist can generate an intense magnetic field, supposedly strong enough to deflect bullets. My plan is to try it out for real.
Well, then I guess it better work.
For your sake, I hope so.
The scene's laid out in our secret agent's storyboard. The watch is the groovy gadget that Q conjures up for 007 in Live and Let Die. Disguised as an ordinary wristwatch, it creates a hyper-intensified magnetic field when Bond switches it on. And although we never see it in the movie, Bond reckons it's powerful enough to deflect a bad guy's bullet.
How are we going to test this one out, Baron?
I believe that we will begin in my underground lair.
And you're going to stay in character for this whole thing?
No, I can't. I gotta take a break. It's killing my voice.
Okay.
Anyway, I figured that it's easy enough to find an electromagnet that can fit in that watch, and we hook that up, get ourselves a shooting range and a gun, and start firing some bullets past it.
Okay.
Now, any myth that involves a magnet makes James one happy guy. He's got what you could call an extensive collection.
When it comes to magnets, I'm your guy. I've got every kind of magnet, all shapes and sizes, even magnets here that only exist here.
In a previous episode, James used super powerful permanent magnets to build a duct climbing device. But this myth calls for a magnet of a different kind.
That's the one.
An electromagnet.
Electromagnets are made by wrapping a copper wire around a steel core and then running current through it. That induces an electric field. That's as opposed to a permanent magnet, which is just some magnetic material that's been permanently magnetized.
Unlike Bond's watch, permanent magnets can't be switched on and off, but electromagnets can. And James has found just the one for this test.
I have the perfect electromagnet. It's the right size, it's the right shape. It's going to go inside this watch, which is an exact replica of the electromagnetic watch in Live and Let Die.
James juices up his magnet to run at 5 times its usual voltage, making it the strongest magnet that could possibly be wedged into a watch.
There, it's a watch. Looks like a watch, but it's not.
But does a magnet this small really stand a chance against a speeding bullet? Before our daring duo head out on Her Majesty's Secret Service, they do something for your eyes only.
I think it's really good that we get this chance to bond.
Not Bond, Heineman. James Heineman.
Let's go.
So what do you got?
This one comes from the latest Bond movie, Casino Royale. Bond is surrounded by bad guys, seemingly no escape. When he spies a propane tank, he whips out his gun and shoots it.
Yeah, he's like 20 feet away. He sees a 100-pound propane tank, shoots it with a 9mm. It explodes, and he survives.
In the movie, our secret agent hero's got himself in a tight corner. Bond spies a propane tank 20 feet away. He whips out his 9mm Walter P99, fires a shot, sparking a giant fireball that lets him get away. It's a classic Bond maneuver. But is it an escape strategy to gamble your life on?
All right, you guys, how do you want to test this one?
I think we should start out by getting some empty propane tanks and shooting them with a 9mm, just to see if we can pierce them. Now, if we can't pierce them, I think we should step up to bigger and bigger guns and keep shooting until we find a gun that can.
And once we can pierce the tank, we should fill it with propane and find out if the tank can explode.
All right, sounds like we're going to need a lot of guns and a lot of propane tanks.
Tanked up and firing on all cylinders, it's straight to the Alameda bomb range. There's no messing about on this myth. Right away, the team unload an empty canister and put safety shields in place. After all, they all want to die another day, and not today.
All right, what's the plan?
Well, first off, we need to see if you can penetrate a gas cylinder before we start putting propane in it.
I think we should start with the 9mm, because that's what James Bond used in the movie.
Perfect. Let's do it.
It's a plot even Blofeld couldn't crack. From 20 feet, Carrie's firing the Walter P99 handgun. Same gun Bond used, same distance. But different result.
So the first test was with the 9mm. Shot it once, didn't pierce the tank. Shot it a second time, still didn't pierce the tank. And we couldn't get any sort of piercing into this tank.
Has the movie myth fallen foul of our gun-toting team already?
We pretty much busted this myth already. I mean, in the movie, he's using a 9mm and he punctures the tank. We've shot it twice, haven't been able to puncture it.
It's not going to happen.
Well, good thing we brought the entire MythBusters arsenal.
Sure is, because after one test, it's not looking good for this Bond movie moment. But in the words of Dr. No, we never fail, Mr. Bond. And we're not leaving without a fireball. Still to come, remote control controversy.
URC everything up until this point. This is my turn.
But up next, it's full steam ahead. It's the MythBusters James Bond Special. And Cary Grant and Tori are dancing around the question, could you spark a massive explosion by shooting a propane gas tank just like 007 did in Casino Royale? Well, Bond's 9mm's been blown away.
We've shot it twice, haven't been able to puncture it.
It's not going to happen.
So, like Bond at the casino, Tori's raised the stakes and reached for the shotgun.
Ah, look at that hole.
Let's see if it made it all the way through. Oh, not quite. Check it out. Almost, though.
Yeah.
But almost is not enough. For a big Bond bang, Cary reckons they need a gun that can slice through the front and the back of the tank.
Next, we're using the 30-06, and I think that this might be the gun that could create the fireball, because I think that bullet is going to penetrate the front and the back of the tank, and I think it might be able to make an entry wound, add oxygen into the environment, and then possibly spark on the way out. Nice shot, Bond!
Well, thank you.
The rifles ruptured the tank not once, but twice, at the front and through the back. But where does that leave Mr. Bond and his Walter P99?
Well, looks like we can bust the myth right here. I mean, the 9mm that James Bond used doesn't even pierce the tank.
Yeah, but we have two weapons that will puncture those tanks, the shotgun and the 30-06. Why don't we take those and shoot a full tank of propane gas and see what happens, see if it blows up into a ball of fire.
Well, before we start playing with fire, can we please change out of these completely flammable clothes?
Yeah, I'm sick of these monkey suits.
There's no monkey business back at the bomb range. Our intrepid trio are dealing with 22 gallons of highly flammable propane, packed at 240 psi. Even the steel tank's got a license to kill. It's a life-threatening scenario, so the tank is staked to the ground, and the team will fire from a safe distance away.
You know, one thing would be kind of cool is if we dress up Buster like James Bond, put him 20 feet away, and see what happens to him if this thing does explode, because he could potentially get burned up.
You sure could, because this round, Carrie's shooting a full tank of propane with the high-powered rifle.
The reason why the 30-06 might work is because we're using armor-piercing rounds, and that's a piece of steel surrounded by lead. Now, when that bullet goes through the first wall of the tank, the lead could shear away, leaving just the steel. And when that steel hits that second wall, we could create a spark.
The tank's locked and loaded. Buster Bond's standing by, and Carrie's got her gun.
Are you ready, Miss Moneypenny?
Quite ready.
Moneypenny never packed a piece like this.
3, 2, 1. Nice shot!
Good shot!
Thank you.
The high-speed camera shows the armor-piercing bullets slicing through the cylinder, like Bond at a pajama party, but without the resulting bang.
Wow, that's great, but no explosion, no.
But right on the money, Kenny.
The team have the propane tank myth on the run, but can they find the right bullet to blow it away? Now, let's leap into movie myth 003.
So what's up next?
This is a good one. Remember the famous speedboat chase through the bayous in Live and Let Die?
Yeah, that was great.
All right, our task is to replicate part of that chase, specifically the incredible jumps. Not just to replicate them, but to find out if speedboats, like the ones you see in the movie, could make a jump like that, land, and continue on their high-speed chase.
So it's all about that landing and whether or not it would destroy the boat.
Exactly. That's our task.
The Live and Let Die boat chase is surely the most spectacular in Bond history. Pursued by Mr. Big's henchmen through the Louisiana bayous, 007 finds himself trapped by a levee. In unflappable Bond style, he aims his speedboat at the bank and makes the leap over a shocked sheriff waiting below. He lands safely back in the water and races away. But will this movie myth have a crash landing?
Jimmy, in all your years as a captain in the Caribbean, did you ever jump a motorboat?
Well, I've sunk a couple, but never jumped one.
Well, that tells me that we probably don't want to go whole hog on this right off the bat, that a few scale tests are in order.
Sounds like a plan.
So it's full speed ahead for Adam as he creates a mini bayou on the floor of M5 using 2x4s, plywood, and a poly tarp.
I need it to be waterproof, because if I let this leak, Jamie will get really off.
And it's best not to anger Agent Heineman when he's got a steel girder in hand.
That was easy.
It'll act the part of the small-scale ramp.
I hear the sound. It's like people yelling at their TVs. I know what they're saying. You're saying, but Adam, in the James Bond movie, he didn't hit a ramp. He hit the side of the levee. Here's the thing. We don't have a levee that's the perfect size and shape. And if we're all going to be honest with each other, we know that it happened with a ramp. Our question is not ramp or no ramp, levee or no levee. It's, can a boat make a jump like we saw in the movie and keep on going when it's done?
It all sounds so simple. So with the small-scale bayou complete, what's Adam's plan?
Well, I'm just going to go for this and hope for the best.
But he quickly learns that remote control is harder than it looks.
This is going to take a while. No. Oh, I hit the camera.
So how many times are you going to screw around with this before I get to go?
Look, you RC everything up until this point. This is my turn, and I've given you plenty of time in the past to dial it in and get into the zone. I don't want to be trying to get into the zone while thinking you're just going to usurp me at some point. So give me some bloody space.
With a thumbs up from James, Adam zones into his remote boat. The lessons he learns here will be crucial in the full-scale test later.
I know I want to learn some stuff from this test, like angle of ramp and speed of boat and controllability of boat. But there's also a host of things that I don't know about what I need to know. And that's probably the main reason we're doing this. Just to get a feel for controlling a boat, running it towards a ramp. It's not like this is an absolute analog to the full-size test, but it should teach us enough to know where the problem areas might occur. Jeez.
And what's quickly clear is that the key problem is control. If the boat doesn't hit the ramp dead on, its chances are sunk.
That was something. Well, I think that's about the end of what we can learn from this boat in scale.
Yep, it's time to go full size. Let's get a boat and do it for real.
Man, this one's going to be hard.
Make that hard and dangerous, because here's what's going to happen. Using a full-scale speedboat, the MythBusters will steer it onto a submerged ramp at high speed. If it miraculously manages to make the 70-foot leap over a barge below, will it still be in one piece?
Dude, it looks just like the boat in Live and Let Die.
Not going to get closer than that.
The speedboat's almost an exact replica of Bond's 1973 Glastron GT 150. But there's one tiny issue. The insurance company won't let James or Adam be in the boat during the test. So the only solution is RC.
I'm going to be RCing this boat. And then maybe I can get Jamie to sit in it. I'll let it go out of control and drive through a fence like he did to me. What the hell was that?
With remote revenge in mind, Adam wires up the boat so he can control the throttle and the steering wheel.
And I'm going to use the same module to do each. This is a very large, waterproof, super high-powered servo. Basically, when I make a motion on my RC transmitter, this will rotate according to what I tell it to do.
But the question is, will the boat obey Adam's every command, or is it on a crash course to catastrophe? There's just one way to find out.
Coming up next on MythBusters, find out how not to dry clean your tuxedo.
And is the Bond magnetic mission still on target?
Right to the same hole.
The MythBusters are taking aim at 007 movie myths. In Live and Let Die, James Bond's magnetic watch saves his bacon more than once. But could it really deflect a speeding bullet? Or is it just Bond baloney? Armed with a replica of 007's watch, steel bullets, and, well, a ballistics gel arm, James and Adam are on target to put this myth to the test. This myth depends on deadly accurate aim. So to take human error out of the equation, our magnetic duo rig up a remote firing device. And Adam's gone high-tech to explain how it'll work.
Allow me to demonstrate with a bit of secret agent yarn. Under normal circumstances, the bullet leaving this barrel will follow a consistent trajectory towards the target, i.e. every bullet we fire should go through the same hole at this distance. However, if there is any merit to this myth, the bullet, when it goes past the watch, will change its trajectory, and then we'll see a different hole being made into the target.
Cue-worthy theory, Adam. Let's put it to the test. The first two shots simply check the trajectory of a bullet without the magnet in play. And sure enough, both bullets land in the same spot on the target.
That's what I like to see, right through the same hole. All right, let's get that watch fired up and see if there's a difference.
Remember, any differences in the next test will be the result of the magnet. So, like solitaire, it's time to lay the cards on the table about the might of our electromagnet. Magnetism is measured in Gauss. The Earth's magnetic field is about half a Gauss. A fridge magnet, 10 Gauss, while a junkyard magnet is a whopping 10,000 Gauss. And as for our Bond watch?
575.
That's not bad for a small one that fits in a watch.
Well, yeah, that's the most we could fit in there, and I want to point out that we've overclocked this. This is running at like 5 times the voltage it's intended to.
Perfect.
James has juiced up the magnet as far as it'll go, but has it got the stones to sidetrack the slug, just like in Live and Let Die?
You know, Adam, even though they say that this electromagnetic watch was powerful enough to deflect a bullet, you never actually see it do that in the film.
We do, however, see it do some other pretty remarkable feats, like pull the zipper down on that woman's dress, you see it track that compressed gas bullet, and even pull his boss's teaspoon off of his teacup from across the room.
Yeah, but all those effects are old school. Pulling monofilament, rods, stuff like that.
Yeah, the fact is, a magnet's power decreases exponentially the farther you get away from it. They simply can't act at a distance unless you're really close.
And that's exactly why we're doing our testing at very close range.
Okay, but the question is, even at close range, will a magnet this size affect a bullet at all?
Okay, electromagnetic watch test in 3, 2, 1.
Right through the hole.
Right through the same hole. No effect from the watch. Well, let's double check and have a look at the high speed.
Okay.
The high-speed camera captures the bullet at 6,000 frames a second, and it confirms that the bullet stayed on course.
Well, that's definitive. The electromagnetic watch did not work. And the fact is, there's just no way to pump enough energy through an electromagnet that size to be able to affect a bullet.
But we're not going to leave it there. That's just the first part of what we do, replicating the circumstances. Now we want to see if we can replicate the results. Will a bigger electromagnet alter the trajectory of our bullets?
But when it comes to electromagnets, does size matter? Well, it might not fit on your wrist, but this magnet has 3,200 Gauss of pure pulling power.
This is firing a bullet past a super big electromagnet in 3, 2, 1. Went right through the same hole. The electromagnet had no effect on the trajectory. Let's look at the high speed.
Yet again, the high speed tells the same story. Even an electromagnet this big doesn't affect the bullet.
Well, the results of all the tests we've conducted so far are pretty conclusive. No matter how many bullets we've fired, and no matter what we fired them past, they are all exiting through the same hole in the Jamie target, which tells me that nothing we're trying is affecting the trajectory of any of our bullets.
The electromagnet is not enough, but our secret agents haven't surrendered yet. The Casino Royale exploding propane tank myth is busted. Bond's 9mm couldn't even pierce the tank. And even when the team used a high-velocity rifle with armor-piercing bullets, there was a good head of steam, but no explosion. But Carrie's got a hot idea.
None of this regular stuff's gonna do it. We're gonna need something with a little fire, so we're moving on to a tracer round. This should be interesting.
Tracers have a small amount of bright burning phosphorus at their base. That's what makes them visible to the naked eye. But it vaporizes as the bullet travels through the air. It's possible Bond could be packing tracers, but gun guru Frank Tabor reckons he'd need more than a single shot.
You may have to shoot it twice. Once to pierce it, and the second one maybe to ignite the ball of gases that come out. We'll find out.
Yeah! Tori's pumped, and the tracers are locked and loaded. The first tracers lit up like Christmas Jones, releasing a huge cloud of flammable gas. In comes the second, and the third, but...
I can't believe this. No explosion.
Yeah, but I saw the tracer rounds definitely lit up.
So the tracer rounds went in, it punctured the tank. It should have ignited, but it didn't.
This myth's not just double busted, it's triple busted. No bullets triggered the mighty Bond kaboom.
That's it. I am so over bullets. We even tried a tracer round, which is basically a bullet on fire, and we couldn't get any explosion out of a propane tank. So we're moving on to high explosives, something that will guarantee a really James Bond ending to this story.
And if you want a Bond-worthy explosion, bomb technician J.D. Nelson's the go-to guy. He attaches a small amount of incendiary explosives to the tank and rolls out the charge. While Buster Bond stays 20 feet from the tank, the team retreat to the safety of their blast-proof lair.
Anybody else feel like an evil genius?
Bye-bye, 00 Buster.
Today, propane tanks. Tomorrow, world domination.
You've seen your last martini, 003. In 3, 2, 1.
That was the biggest ball of flame I've ever seen!
Oh, that was rare.
Now that's what you'd call a real thunderball. Remember, all JD added was enough explosive to rupture the tank and ignite the gas. The rest was pure propane. Buster Bond's lucky to have kept his head. The tank's been blown to smithereens.
Wow. Oh, dude, you peeled it right open. It's like, whoop. That's crazy.
Where's the top?
The top is over there.
MythBusters, was this a successful day?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I'm happy.
Let's walk off into sunset. What do you say?
Wow.
Cheers. You know, we got a few more of those cans of propane.
And you can bet we're going to use them, because this Bond myth ain't over yet. Stay with us, because Adam's in control of Bond's Live and Let Die boat jump.
As many times as we do this, I don't get used to how much fun it is. You want to see more crazy characters that we played in the opening scene? Log on to discovery.com/MythBusters, where you can see our very own James Bond trailer with the entire MythBusters team bonding. Please, don't try anything that you're about to see us do at home. Ever.
Steering a boat at land is not what you'd call a guaranteed getaway.
The only thing damaged are the boat and the owner's feelings.
Unless you're James Bond. In Live and Let Die, 007 leaps a Louisiana levee without smashing up his speedboat. But James and Adam's small-scale tests have already washed up a few problems.
It seems to be our curse on MythBusters is that these things we only have one shot at, and this one is no different. It's all or nothing.
So with nothing to lose, the MythBusters have hightailed it up country for a full-scale test.
Well, unfortunately, California is pretty far from the bayous of Louisiana, and this myth is all about location, location, location. It has to be the right location for us. So we've come to a secret location in Northern California. I can't tell you where we exactly are, but this, we're told, might be perfect.
And just to make sure the now not-so-secret location is as perfect as it looks, James and Adam head out on reconnaissance.
We're scouting the lake right now for the perfect location for our ramp. It's going to be built out of scaffolding, and it's got to be built in relatively shallow water, 5 or 6 feet deep, because any deeper than that, it would just be too hard to build.
Most of the lake is 15 to 18 feet deep, but Adams had a tip-off about a nice, shallow, straight stretch.
Yeah, perfect, right here. This looks great. Yeah, this is nice. It's fairly consistent.
With a buoy marking the spot, it's back to base and all hands on deck to rig up the full-scale ramp.
While this may look like a bit of standard painter scaffolding, in fact, it is the heart and soul of our boat jumping ramp that we're going to construct out here in the lake. Actually, we're going to build the first part of it here right on this fantastic barge that I'm standing on. We're going to carry it out to the location and dump it in the water and build the rest of the ramp on top of it. We've never tried anything quite like this before, and I'm actually, while I think this work is going to be hard, I'm pretty psyched.
Psyched over scaffolding? Whatever floats your boat out. But getting the angle of the ramp right could make or break this myth. James has crunched the numbers and calculated that at 45 miles an hour, an 18-degree incline should launch the boat more than 70 feet. But building a ramp this size in the middle of a lake ain't easy.
So, yeah, I think if we just push it off and then use the lines to stabilize it.
Sometimes it's the simplest plans
Go, go. Okay, hold your rope.
that go horribly wrong. The base of the ramp is now upside down and submerged 6 feet under. It's a battle of will versus water as the team struggle to flip the scaffolding right side up.
Well, we've got the scaffolding on the water, sort of. I mean, it seemed like a good idea at the time. We just dumped it in. And now we've got some twisted and torqued metal pieces. We'll figure it out.
And slowly but surely, the ramp comes together like a massive mechano set.
We're putting a bunch of anchors out in all directions with cables so they don't stretch. And hopefully we'll be able to get it rock solid by the time we cinch everything in tight.
With the ramp looking somewhat sturdy, Adam turns his attention back to his remote control boat.
I know what you're saying to yourself. You're saying, Self, how would you turn a full-size motorboat into a really big remote-controlled toy? I'll tell you. All it takes is one of these transmitters, which sends some signals to this receiver. This receiver parses those signals and sends it out to both the throttle and the steering. In the case of the throttle, this 12-volt battery powers through this switch to this throttle servo here right on the engine. In the case of the steering, this switch sends power from the 12-volt battery to the steering servo right here on the steering wheel, and hopefully allows me to steer this boat through the water, into the ramp, through the air, over the police car, and into history. Now all I need to do is get it in the water and test it out.
Remember, other than the remote control, the boat is exactly like Bond's.
That works perfect.
This myth will live or die on Adam's ability to hit the ramp dead on at just the right speed.
As many times as we do this, I don't get used to how much fun it is. Driving behind an empty ghost speedboat, racing across the lake at 45 miles per hour. That is exactly the speed we wanted to hit. The control I have is fantastic. All that's left up now is to set out our flags for the course we're going to run, make sure the ramp is secure, and go for it.
After the break, Grant's packing some serious heat.
Going hot!
And James and Adam throw everything they have at Bond's magnetic watch. We've flicked the switch on a magnetic movie myth. The MythBusters have turned up the dial on James Bond's magnetic watch, but the results have left them hanging. Even a Mondo-sized electromagnet failed to deflect a steel bullet.
Nothing we're trying is affecting the trajectory of any of our bullets.
But like all good secret agents, James has a backup plan. Super strong, permanent magnets.
This is neodymium iron boron, which is the most powerful type of rare earth magnet. This right here is the bomb.
And if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. The bullet will travel over not one, not two, but 10 super strong magnets.
Each one of these magnets lifts 350 pounds. It's like adding a lot of extra gravity to this bullet. I feel like it might actually work.
Tomorrow never dies, and neither does Adam's optimism. Even James is feeling confident.
My guess is they're going to actually affect it enough to put a groove in the last magnet as the bullet goes across it, and it will probably put the bullet in a lower spot on the target.
And 3, 2, 1. I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Well, I can see that the hole is lower.
The hole does seem to have been affected a little bit lower.
Sure enough, the bullet hole is slightly lower, but there's a whole lot of nothing on the magnets.
No scratch or anything that I can see. Darn! Momentum is a powerful thing, James. Let's check the high speed.
The bullet drops, even flips end on end, but ultimately keeps going. Bond's still taking one in the chest. His chance of survival is slim.
That is so close. I wish we had a little more.
I've got a surprise for you. Wait here.
It's from Adam with love.
Same diameter, 3 times as thick. This may look like a hunk of metal, but if I brought this close to that light pole, I could lose my hand.
These just might be the shot in the arm for this experiment. 3 more super magnets means more than 60,000 gauss of total pull. But Adam wants the results to be indisputable.
I have also added a piece of pristine white tape across the tops of all of these. So if this tumbling bullet that we saw in the last shot actually hits or touches anything along the way, we'll see it in the tape.
I see peeled tape.
You hit the magnet.
It looks like we hit the magnet.
It was sliding right along the magnet when it hit.
And the difference was made by those last 3 magnets. And look, it bounced up and hit above.
A result. But it took 13 super strong magnets to finally alter the trajectory of the bullet.
Well, look, this whole spy gadget is predicated on the idea that you can overcome the force of momentum with the force of magnetism. Now, while we were able to gather up enough magnets to affect the trajectory, we didn't come close to stopping it, and there's no way you're going to fit our rig wrapped around your wrist.
Yeah, and if you were going to do it with an electromagnet, you'd need so much power that you'd have to have a small nuclear reactor in the watch battery or something.
You're totally right. This thing is busted, our work here is done, and let's go get a couple of martinis, James.
The MythBusters have blown holes a mile wide in the myth that 007 could make a propane tank explode using his 9mm handgun.
We've shot it twice, haven't been able to puncture it.
It took explosives to create a Bond-worthy blast.
That was the biggest ball of flame I've ever seen!
But one huge fireball is not enough for the MythBusters.
Bet you guys thought this myth was over when we exploded the propane tanks, huh?
That was an amazing explosion, but there's one thing that's been bothering me. I mean, we used explosives to blow up the propane tank. James Bond just used his pistol.
But the fans will say you didn't use incendiary rounds.
They're illegal in California.
I bet you at Jamie's secret location they're not illegal.
Yeah, let's go there.
As Adam discovered, Jamie's location is strictly on a need-to-know basis.
Where are we?
We're right here.
And right here's the perfect setting for a minigun massacre.
We tried shooting our propane tank with 3 different guns and tracer rounds. Still no explosion. But our friends have decided to let us use their Gatling gun with incendiary rounds and a much bigger propane tank.
You know, this just might work. Incendiary rounds have a lot more firepower than any bullet we've tried. They're packed with a combustible material at the tip and in the core that burns at a very high temperature. And using a minigun might help too.
Now, the Gatling minigun shoots 50 rounds a second. 50 rounds, that's a lot of bullets. I am pretty sure we're going to be able to explode this propane tank. It doesn't have a chance.
Let's hope so, Tori, because this is the last chance for the Casino Royale myth.
This is propane tank with incendiary rounds. Going hot. In 3, 2, 1.
That is awesome.
Never say never again. The first flail of ammo hits, and almost instantly, the propane set ablaze.
Ah, that was cool. Finally, we found a gun and bullets that will set off the propane tank. The only thing is that the gun is a minigun, firing thousands of rounds a minute, and the bullets are incendiary. James Bond didn't have either, so unfortunately, this myth is still busted.
That's busted in Royale style. Coming right up,
There's a lot of pressure on me to get this right.
Adam leaks into Bond's speedboat stunt.
Oh my God.
Way back when, in Mega Movie Myths, Jamie and Adam made a leap of epic proportions. Armed with an RC Chevy, they wanted to know whether a car could do a Dukes of Hazzard-inspired jump and land in a drivable condition. The answer was a resounding no. Now, in our final test of the James Bond special, our agents of destruction are at it again in a live and let die inspired myth. The dirt ramp has been replaced with scaffolding, the road with water, and the car with a speedboat. No doubt the chances of something going horribly wrong are horribly high.
The worst case scenario is at the moment this boat hits the ramp, the rails of the ramp go like this, like that, and swallow the boat, basically running it through like a wood chipper.
Is now the time to mention that during Live and Let Die, the stunt team trashed 17 boats and made 100 practice runs before perfecting this jump. Adam's got just one chance to steer the speedboat right at the ramp, or the myth's dead in the water.
There's a lot of pressure on me to get this right. We've been out here for 3 days. If I don't nail this, we've pretty much wasted our time. So I feel the pressure, but I like the pressure. I feel good about it. I actually feel good about this test, and I feel like I'm going to hit that ramp, and I feel like this boat's going to sail beautifully through the air and land on the other side. I feel pretty optimistic about it. Like, position's right, everything's running. You feel good about it, Jamie?
I feel great.
Yeah, all the pressure's off you this time.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Remember, this myth is all about the boat being drivable when it lands. So hang on to your beret, it's showtime. Adam bumps the boat up to 45 miles an hour. He's got to hit the ramp dead on, and at this speed, that's like threading a needle. But remarkably, he's doing just that. But at the last second, Houston, we have a problem.
getting over the car.
Oh my God.
Hey, that worked surprisingly well. I mean, we can probably still use a boat.
Despite James's optimism, there's no doubt that this test went belly up. The boat's not speeding off into the sunset. So, what went wrong?
In short, we were chasing our RC speedboat at a really perfect clip, but I think we fell off the wake and went off center. And when we went off center, I lost my aim. And honestly, I am glad that I hit the ramp as much as I did, considering I had about 3 or 4 seconds of no idea where it was going.
Remember, Adam was supposed to hit the ramp dead on. Then the boat was supposed to fly through the sky, over the awaiting police car, and touch down on the other side. That way, the MythBusters would have been able to learn if it was still drivable once it landed, or would the hull have been ripped to pieces. Unfortunately, Adam's last-second lack of control meant the boat flipped, and the chance of accurately answering this myth flopped.
Well, it's not exactly what we hoped for, but the hull is intact. I looked at it carefully. It's good as new. So, what does that tell us? It means that you could actually make a jump like this and survive it.
Despite the jump going off the rails, is it possible to salvage a conclusion to this myth?
I think we have to call it plausible. You know, the boat held up quite well. It did a little funny flip thing, but I gotta say, I think it would have landed just fine. It cleared the barge with the car on it.
It did. Based on the evidence we have, I would agree. I'd call this one plausible. Let's go try and get that boat out of the water.
Yeah, we need to practice a little more before we do that again.
Snap out of it, Buster Bond.
I don't think 00 Buster's gonna make it to the next Bond installment. He's been burned, drowned. How much more punishment can a secret agent take?
Well, there's gotta be a million more spy myths that we can test. If you have any of those spy myths, log on to discovery.com/mythbusters and give him another shot. Come on, buddy.